For those who are just tuning in, we are tuned into Talia's Book Nook. Alexandria Lechelle is my guest. Welcome.
Hi.
Welcome,
I'm so
welcome.
nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know.
You shouldn't be nervous. It's just me. I'm just a girl. And I can't wait to talk to you about your work. So no need to be nervous. No need to be nervous. But we are going to start with some. Am I echoing?
No.
Am I okay? But we are going to start with a rapid fire. So I'm going to ask you 10 questions.
Okay.
Whatever comes to mind, say it. And if I want to interrogate further, I'm going to interrogate further.
Okay.
Right? All right. Your last 5-star read.
um, it was, oh my God, it's on the tip of my tongue. I don't have my Kindle in front of me. Oh my God, what was it?
Who
It
is it?
was Sean. It was a book by Sean. What's the one that just came out? No. The Last Man on Earth by Shay
Like Shay
Sanders.
Sanders.
Yes.
Yes. That was a really, really good one. And I had only read her novellas until that point. And I read Last Man on Earth, and I'm like, oh my.
As a
So
girl who loves Survivor, that book was like, I need more of it. I was like, can I write a survival romance? Like I need more. They could have stayed on the island for
yeah,
me.
no, if anything, and I don't know if this is a spoiler, but for me, is there echoing? Is it on my end? What would cause echoing? Do you think you don't have you don't have headphones in. Okay. Is it me echoing? It is me echoing. Okay. Was it echoing before? Yeah, let's try to. What can I do? I don't know what I can do sound wise. Um,
Don't ask me.
can I mute my background? But I'm talking. Um, okay, so yeah, I don't want her to keep muting, unmuting. Um, does anyone have the live up on their end? It will echo. Do you have the live playing elsewhere on your end? Okay, it's gone now, but okay. I don't want you to keep muting, unmuting. But let's see how long we can do this for. Um, but yeah, if anything, spoiler alert for The Last Man on Earth. If anything, I was distraught at how long they were stranded on the I was like, when you go to the next chapter and you're telling us how much more time, I'm like, oh my God, who's going to okay, what's your least favorite trope?
So funny enough, it's second chance romance.
Okay. But you have a whole like you've written an entire universe around second chances. Okay, we're gonna interrogate that further. We're gonna interrogate that further. How long did it take you to write Loved by You?
It took me, so my first draft I wrote in 7 days because I was like super
Oh,
hyper. I was super hyper fixated on it and I was like super motivated and I had like a week off for winter break. And it's the only thing that I did. I don't even remember like eating much of that time. But the total time, including like editing and all of the hiccups I had through the editing process, I would say like about 9 months until it got to a place where I was like, okay, I'm really satisfied with where I am.
okay. So you wrote it in a week, 9 months to do all the editing, polishing. Okay. Okay. How long was it an idea in your head before you started writing?
It was actually a dream that I had, strangely enough. And then I was getting back into reading and I just was like, huh, I wonder if I can turn this into a story. Now, that first version of the story is nothing like what the end product ended up being. But it really just like came into my head. I tell people all the time, like the stories that I write, they literally pop into my head and play as movies when I'm driving in the car or like listening to music.
Okay. So how did it change from first draft to what we've been able to read?
I would say the first draft was it was just like a regular romance. And then I'm a perfectionist, so I was like, I really want to write something that like lingers with people because I read a lot. And there are a lot of books I've read that I've enjoyed, but I can't tell you what happened in those books. I can just look at the cover and say, oh, yep, I've read that before. But I wanted to write something that kind of stayed with the person after they read it, and there was like learning coming from it. And that's just the English teacher in me. Um, Having a story where you there's a message that you take with you after it. And so when I was writing it and working with some of like my alpha readers, beta readers, it just kept pushing me to go like deeper and deeper and add more elements and layers into it.
Okay, okay. That's amazing. 7 days. I am flabbergasted. I don't think I've heard that. I don't think I've heard that short of a time frame for writing a
I
full draft.
literally would sleep for like maybe 5 hours, and then the rest of the 19 hours in the day I was writing. When I said I was hyper fixated, I was completely, it was my hyperfixation for
Okay.
the break.
Okay, awesome. What's the hardest part of the writing process for you?
Um, it's the first draft. It's the first draft, and it's because I try to make it as perfect as possible, which that's not it's not feasible. Like it's always going to change. But it's the first draft and getting the story like exactly perfect for me and having like all of the elements and pieces included into it. I spend a lot of time Pinteresting like mood boards and curating playlists. But then when it's actually time for me to sit down and write, I'm like, okay, what is this conversation going to be?
Okay. Okay. Do you read reviews?
So um, I have gotten to the place where I will read like the first initial reviews, especially ones from like people who have received an arc. And I have now graduated to the stage of after like the first week, I do not look at reviews. Um, I I unofficially have Goodreads blocked for my own mental health.
Okay.
And then any that I do see, I mostly will just come across them on Amazon, like when I'm checking my analytics and like where I stand in the ratings. And just like if people tag me in reviews, I'll look at those.
Do you
But
like being tagged in reviews?
if they enjoyed the book, they can definitely, if they did not, I just respectfully just let other people know how you felt about the book. Don't let me. But if you enjoyed it, yes, tag me.
Yeah,
I want to hear.
generally, I feel like the growing consensus is don't tag at all. And like for me, even if it's a positive review, I don't want to tag because it's like I don't know what commentary I'm inviting. Because just because I said I loved it, that doesn't mean a commenter feels the same way, and I don't even want to subject an author
Yeah, and it's
to
like,
whatever they're
especially
talking
with
about.
these like new authors like myself, we're just happy to have written the book and gotten the book out for people. Like having to deal with reviews and people not enjoying the book, like that's a whole other skill that a lot of us don't have. So I just respectfully do not look at reviews
Okay.
anymore.
Okay, so you've already learned the lesson. What's a romance book that altered your brain chemistry?
I will say one, Before I Let Go, because that was like the first true romance that I read because I was really into YA and fantasy, and that was the first romance book that I read in my like adulthood, womanhood. And I would say that book completely changed the trajectory of what I thought could be possible for my life.
Okay, that's wonderful. And I think for a lot of us, like especially in like the last like 5-ish years, like we all talk about Before I Let Go in like very profound ways. So I totally agree with what you're saying.
And
Um,
then a tie would have to be anything by Beverly Jenkins.
okay.
Like I need those men in real life in like modern times.
What's your
Yeah.
favorite Beverly Jenkins book?
Oh. There's so many. Rebel was really, really good. I really enjoyed that. And then the Through the Storm, I think it's the one with like the pirate uh
I know what
woman
cover you're talking
characters.
about. Yeah.
Those I really, really enjoyed that. Um and then there was another one when they go to like the frontier. I can't think of the name, but I know eventually one of the books is like Wild Rain or something like that. But
Wild Rose.
I
Is it
think so.
Rose?
I think so. But it's like they're over there in, you know, the Rocky Mountains in California, like over there. I really enjoyed those as well.
Awesome, awesome. What's your number one piece of business advice to aspiring authors?
So I'm very tuned in to what's happening in the Black book universe right now,
Mhm.
especially on threads. I just keeping my mouth shut. I observe everything, but I don't speak on anything unless it pertains to me selling my books and trying to get people to read, purchase my books, and I leave it at that. Just don't engage in all of the just don't do it. Just watch from the distance. Um, but just try not to engage as much as possible because at the end of the day, like you have a business and you can have opinions, like really save it for the group chat. And just keep your brand about like what you want to put out into there. I want to put out healing, self-care, um, true love. And so that's what I try to portray
Okay.
whenever I'm posting anything on social
Who,
media.
so you say saving it for the group chat. Like, who are those people in your group chat?
My sister. My sister. I have a couple of like alpha readers and some beta readers that. Well, actually, I don't really. My sister. My sister.
Your
She's the
sister.
only one
Okay.
because I know
Does your
I.
sister is she tapped in to like
No,
the online book? She's just a
she
third
has no
party.
idea what I'm talking about, but she
Okay.
listens very earnestly.
Does she read your work though?
She does. I
Okay.
had to tell her Lily in the Valley is probably going to make her cry because there's like a portion in there. If you've read the story, like that's our story. So I had to say, okay, be ready because it's going to make you cry. And I actually inspired her to start working on a book too.
Okay. What is she writing?
She is writing, it's an interracial mafia dark romance thing.
Okay. How far
Yes.
along is she?
She's still in her first draft. The last time I checked in, she was maybe like 50% through
Okay.
with it.
Okay. And when is she gonna? When should we be expecting? Like,
So I've learned to just let her work at her own pace. And then I told her when she gets ready to start editing and stuff that I would help her through all like the publishing side of things. And I was like, girl, you could publish under my little publishing imprint and we could be publishing together. So that's kind of like the plan.
okay, that's wonderful. Do you have an author bestie or mentor?
Um, I am extremely introverted. So there are authors that I know, and when I see them in person, I'll be like, "Oh, hey!" I would say probably the closest person would be Nitra Antoinette. We kind of started around the same time, and she's so sweet. She's so motivating. Also, Nina High, who wrote Love Under Contract in those series.
Yeah.
There was a time where like I stopped posting on social media and I like essentially went ghost and they were reaching out to me like, what's going on? We haven't seen you. What is happening? So people like that, it really lets me know that there are people who are looking out for me and like recognize when I am not present.
Okay. Nutra Antoinette says, hey, shout out to Nina. Hi. We're gonna talk about your YouTube in a little bit. Someone made a comment about you on YouTube. We're gonna talk about YouTube. And for those of you who have questions, save those for the end. because I am not scrolling. So unless I say ask your questions, don't ask your questions, because we're gonna save those for the end. What's a book on your TBR?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Don't kill me. No, I should
Oh
not say that.
no! Oh,
I shouldn't say that.
what you about to say?
But don't come for me. But I have Goon on my TBR. I am completely swamped between like this job and my actual real job. I have not had the time to like sit and read it to enjoy it. But I also heard that there's a cliffhanger, so I'm like trying to pace it to as close as when she drops the next one.
Okay, so you might want to wait until the
Mm-hmm.
second book. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay. Um, and if you weren't writing romance, what would you be writing genre wise?
So I do have another story that is in like a draft stage, and I'm really being drawn to like a southern gothic um thriller suspense type of thing. So that's what I'm interested in. Yeah.
Okay,
And I read like the first couple of chapters on live, and the people were feeling it. So once I'm done with the Double Back Diary series, that'll definitely be the one that I'm going to, yeah,
okay,
next.
okay. And we're definitely going to talk about like the rest of Double Back because it's not done.
Mm-mm.
So we're going to talk about whatever else is left in that universe. And if the test group is intrigued, then I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, that was our rapid fire. You survived. So now I want to talk about your journey, your process, because you published Love by You in November of last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you've been in the game officially for a little over a year.
Thank
Congratulations.
you.
But I want to talk about getting to that point. I
Mm-hmm.
want to talk about your relationship with books, with reading, what compelled you to start writing, and all of that. Earliest memories with books. What are those?
Amelia Bedelia.
Okay, so like the
um,
first book. Okay.
I distinctively remember my mom ordering, back when you had to order through a catalog, the Amelia Bedelia books, and like hooked on phonics. I was really into the American Girl series,
Same.
Sweet Valley High. I remember we had like an American Girl tea party, and I had my little knockoff Addie doll that I got to bring with me. So I've always loved reading. Accelerated Reader was wonderful for my reading pacing because I would try to zip through the books, take the test, and get the points and stuff. And then, of course, Twilight, Hunger Games, all of that. And then I became an adult, and yeah, I fell off a lot. But I really didn't get into romance until like after I had had a kid and was married, and very recently getting into romance. Because before I was like, romance. Okay, let me get with the fantasy. Now, I did go through the phase. We know that phase every black girl goes through where they read Zane and they may not be of the right age when they were
Yeah,
supposed to read
exactly.
it. So yeah, like I've just always had books. Like my family had books around us. My grandma had books. My mom would buy us whatever book we wanted. She would hate telling us we can't watch TV because my sister and I would go in our room and just read a book and be just as content. So yeah, always been an avid reader. Wanted to share that like love of reading with like all the students that I taught. At one school I was at, I was actually able to create my own curriculum. So I actually had a whole unit teaching like uh, the epic, but I used Children of Blood and Bone instead of using like traditionally the Odyssey or something like that.
Okay,
So
that's wonderful because I do feel like in school, I don't remember, not I don't remember, there wasn't, we were reading the classics, but not like black authored classics. Like we were reading like the Great Gatsby and Glass Menagerie and of Mice and Men and all of that, but like not like we weren't reading Toni Morrison and Zora Neale Hurston. We weren't reading, I'm older, so like Children of Blood and Bone wasn't even like an option for me in high school. So that's really great. Um, so how did you go from feeling some type of way about romance to wanting to write romance?
I just I'm a creative person. I have a whole bunch of creative hobbies, and one thing I've always appreciated about myself is if I see something that I want to try, I go like 10,000%. And so I just was like, I have a couple of stories in my head. Let me see if I can write a book. And that's how we got to this point. And then just like personally, I was in a place where writing creatively served as like journaling for me, because I was having a conversation with my therapist and I was like, look, sis, I can't journal. This whole sitting here, I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like I can't do it. So all of the things that I might ordinarily would have journaled, I just wrote it into story format. And like the outcomes that I wanted and the things that I needed, I just put it into story format. The things I was going through and learning and healing in my own actual sessions, I put it into the stories. And um I just made it romance because at the core of all of them, there's like an element of the characters have to love themselves first before they're even able to get there like happily ever after.
Okay, okay, all right. So that's a great transition into writing romance because journaling is something that like I've also been instructed to do or coached to do, and I'm not doing that. So that's a great way to kind of turn it on its head. Um, what do you think was the hardest part of publishing that first book?
Um, So, very honestly, I did not expect it to do what it did when I published it. I was just putting a book out there. I thought like maybe like a couple hundred people would read it.
Okay.
Should it be like over the span of a year? And then it just kind of blew up, and I was not prepared for that at all. Um, because at the end of the day, I was just writing a story for myself. Like all of these books are just they're written for me primarily. And so having to navigate learning how to market, learning how to get comfortable with exposing myself to like people and readers and just like I'm still learning that right now, and I think that's the hardest part. Um, but what makes it enjoyable is that, and there's a couple of them in the live right now. Um, you start learning people who really really love your work, and they will be like the sweetest messages of, you didn't have to do what you did to me with this book, but there's a you wrote myself. And I think for me, it's healing for me because a lot of the times we think the things that we're going through, like it's only us going through them. And for me, I don't have like a big community in person, but to know that like something I'm going through is also something that someone else is going through, and what I put out for them is also like healing something in them, that makes me happy.
Okay, okay. And the way you talk about like putting yourself out there, my next questions are actually about you documenting writing Loved by You on TikTok and then you doing book two and kind of primarily documenting that on YouTube. What compelled you to do both and do it so
I really
publicly?
I really enjoy the process of like watching the journey. I'm somebody who will watch all of like Beyonce's documentaries from preparing for Beachella, and I really need her to go ahead and put out the Renaissance documentary that she did. I need to see the Cowboy Carter. And just like what goes on behind the scenes, I'm very intrigued with that. And it's kind of like my own personal diary entry because one day I want to be able to look back on like where I started and compare it to like where I've grown. I did take a break because life,
Life, life.
life sometimes. But I have been secretly recording YouTube videos. I have like about 5 of them that are just like locked and ready to go. I'm nervous about releasing them because I think they may be um, even more personal into just like where I am in like in general.
Are these unreleased footages, is this for future work, or like are you going to kind of go in retrospect to the previous two books?
It ties into like the previous two books. There's a lot of me talking about like what I'm dealing with like in my own life, which will give hints toward a future book. And then while also talking about me actively working on current works. Like I know some of the recent ones I filmed were about the release of Lily in the Valley, and then other products and things I've been working on that I want to put out. Um, and just like my own diary entries into like my process as a writer.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're looking forward to that. And again, someone already asked, it's like, I missed you on YouTube. So like the streets are waiting.
And that's so wild to me because I just put it out there and I'm like, oh, nobody's really watching these.
So you're clearly both a reader and writer. What do you want each side to know about each other?
um, People just like a good story. I'm a reader who I'm an easy reader. You can do almost anything and it's going to satisfy
Yeah, I'm
me.
not picky. Like that's
I've
why I'm.
stopped rating books because every book is going to be a 5-star read. Like it takes a lot of me cursing at the book and just wanting to finish it for me to just not like I will continue reading the book even if it's not doing because I have to finish it. I have to
Okay.
finish it. People just want a good book, and I think on the author side, just readers respecting that like somebody poured their heart into this work and just like it may not be your cup of tea, but there's so many other books that you could go read, and you don't have to be like nasty. And I think like with authors, like people have a right to not like the work that you did, but there are still other people who are going to thoroughly enjoy what you read. It's just about knowing like who is your audience, and people are gonna have opinions, and you just that's the way of the world. People are going to have opinions. You can either let it bother you or not. That's why I don't look at reviews anymore. I just keep writing for like I know it's at least 10 people in this chat. I'm writing the stories for at least those 10 people.
Okay, that's awesome. So the last question I want to ask you before we get into the Double Back Diaries, I find your writing to be beautiful. Like you are, it is well written. It's beautiful. It's poetic. Um, how? Not saying how did you learn how to write this way, but like how did you learn how to write this way?
So I'm creative. I'm a Gemini, so I have two sides of me. I'm very creative, but I'm also very analytical when it comes to like how I approach the things that I'm creative about. And so when I was teaching, I would do this activity called a style still to help my students learn different types of literary and rhetorical devices. And we would read a passage of an author for whatever unit we were working on, and they would have to write in the same like style of that author so they could learn like why different devices and things were being used. So when I got into romance, I was like, well, I want to put in my head like the biggest, baddest book. I want someone to write like a literary critique and just like be able to see all the different like nuances, like go really deep into the craft of the story, not just the story itself. So I did what I would have had my students do. I read stories that were written the same way. I read a lot of Kennedy Ryan. I read J.O. Sears during that time for Loved by You, Natasha Bishop. Beverly Jenkins was heavy in rotation while I was working on Lily in the Valley. And also, I was reading Jaquel J's books too for Lily in the Valley because I needed to change up my MMC a little bit for that one. So I studied other writers because I'm new. Like I don't have a deep catalog of books, I read people like, well, I reread Toni Morrison. I read Their Eyes Are Watching God. Like, I read the stories that had the craft of writing that I was trying to achieve so that I would have like a reference point um, for my own writing.
Yeah. And the authors you name, like when I think of your writing, I'm like, no, she is well written like everyone you just named. And like I think that there's a particular type of like poeticism that they have that I find that you also have. So everyone you just named, it all makes sense. So getting into Loved by You, Lily in the Valley, what came first, the idea for Loved by You or the idea for the series?
The idea for Loved by You.
Okay.
And then the series came in like the fifth version of Loved by You. And the fifth version is the one that became like the eventual published version of the book. Um, and I really sat and I thought about like, I have a whole bunch of things to heal from just from like trauma that I've gone through in my own personal life. And if I tried to fit it into one book, I don't think people would be able to finish the book because it'd just be too much. And so I was like, let me break off different parts of these healing journeys that I'm on into different characters. So, like all of the characters that you experience through Love by You, at the core, they're like myself. So it's like I'm healing versions of myself throughout my life in the book. And then there's just like a romance plot added on top because who doesn't like romance? Like I'm
Yes.
I'm a lover girl at heart. That's why I'm excited about book three. You won't have to get as deep
Yeah, no,
as the first
I
two.
want to get into book. I think I have a feeling I know what book three is going to be. Just based on reading Lily in the Valley. So to clarify, your those first four versions of Love by You were the side characters like was the friend group not really fleshed out?
I would say by like the third version, Kelly for sure, Kelly and Khalil had a story. It wasn't until the fifth one that the entire universe was created.
Okay, okay. For those who have not read Love by You, can you give a brief synopsis, like a couple sentences? Like what is that?
Two former college sweethearts meet randomly and they have to determine if the healing they've gone through personally is enough for them to have a second chance at love.
That's a you have that down pat. You have
I
that
practiced it
you have
enough.
that down pat. Oh my goodness. Um so in our rapid fire, you said your least favorite trope is second chance. But essentially this entire universe, the double back, is second chances. Why second chances if you hate second chance?
Because for me personally, the healing that I've been doing, um, I got to a point in my life where like I was low, like I was really, really low. And I woke up one day and decided I deserve to give myself a second chance at the life that I deserve, the life that I want, the life that I aspire to be. And as I was working on like the stories that I wanted to tell, I just like the parallelism between like giving yourself a second chance and how it ties into like the connection between the two people, because something that I don't know if people have picked up on, each of the pairings, they're like it's a duality between the two of them. And so for the first two books, the female main character is the version of me I'm trying to heal, and then the male main character is like the healed version of me who's loving on the unhealed version of me, and that's how they kind of like intertwine together.
Okay, I don't think I've picked up on that, but like the MMCs are definitely what our FMCs need. But I didn't. I never interpreted it as them being the healed version. Okay, okay, I like that. I like, and come to think of it, you're exactly right. Um, So both of these stories and this entire universe is set in Houston and New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
And New Orleans is my favorite US city. And I've been to New Orleans a lot. If anything, one of the eerie things in reading Lily in the Valley, we know that Kelly is wanting to specialize in pediatric hematology and oncology.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, because one of my college best friends is literally a pediatric hematology oncology doctor, and she did her fellowship at Texas Children's.
Oh my
So like
gosh.
I was like, what is I was like, what is going? I'm like, Shaniqua is literally this. She literally did like so. Like I know Houston, right? Because of her, I would be in Houston. Um, so one, I want to know what your connection to both cities are, and why these cities are the backdrop of these stories.
Um, I'll start with New Orleans. New Orleans is, I lived in New Orleans for about 3 years, but I also visited very frequently. New Orleans is where I lived after I got married. New Orleans is where I had my child. New Orleans is where I spent my first year of motherhood. New Orleans will always have a special place in my heart. One day when these books pop off and this can be my full-time job, do not be surprised if I pack my bags and move back to New Orleans and maybe one day run into Pharaoh Sean and like I can just pick her brain about all the stories that she writes. Um, but what I was always drawn to about New Orleans was like the resilience of the city. Because when I think about all the cities in the United States, New Orleans really like they take a beating and they rise even higher than how they were before. And I've just always been drawn to like the woo woo side as well. And then Houston, I was born and raised in Houston on the east side. I moved away like around middle school, but I'm a Texas girl. And then when I got to this place where I was tired of like surviving and just like drowning, I said, I need to move back home. I need to be closer to my sister. Um, because at this point in our lives, it's kind of just like us two because we've lost like so many different family members. And then our dad lives all the way in South Carolina. So it's really just like us. And I needed to move closer to find like a soft place to land. And so I came back to Houston. So it's like Houston has been, in essence, really like my own second chance back at like living and enjoying life. But with both of these cities, they've changed so much because of like other factors, like environmental factors, economic factors. And I would see like a lot of places just like dwindle away because of gentrification, which will be coming back in a future book. I'm not done with that plot line. And I really just wanted to like in writing the second chances, I wanted to cement the version of these cities that I knew and I loved in the stories and just like pay homage to them because both of those places have done so much for me just in my own life. And I wouldn't be who I was without the experiences that I've had um, living in both places. And I'm back in Houston now,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it's just been wonderful.
Yeah, and reading both books, I'm like, she knows ball. Like, and I'm not from there, but I feel very familiar with both cities. I'm like, she knows ball because like you're naming your name. I think in Lily in the Valley, there's a scene where everyone ends up at bar 5015, and I'm like, and I knew reading these books, I'm like, oh, these are not like to her concepts of cities. It's like, no, there is a personal connection to
Mm-hmm.
both cities, and that definitely shows through. So hearing you talk about your relationship to both cities, I'm like this is not just I need to have this story set somewhere. It's very much like, no, this is deeply personal. So like it very much shows through. Um, So, Vanessa, our FMC and Love by You, what do you think are the things that readers relate the most to?
Um, I think, at least for me, it's like this this dynamic she had with her mother, and just like living with these expectations that are placed on her that she doesn't necessarily agree with. I think as Black women, when we're growing up and we're learning how to be women, at least during like my time, there were a lot of expectations put on us. And at least for me, I couldn't say I necessarily wanted to do some of those things, but I did them because I was a good girl and I wasn't about to, talk back and do any of those things. And that's what I wanted to explore with Vanessa. And then also this like arrested development that happens as a result of not being able to express your wants and needs during like adolescence, and how that ends up shaping, your outlook on love, and how you engage with a partner in this like anxious attachment style, which she definitely did have back in college, that she had to, and it's not just a matter of, oh, let me work on myself. Like, no, you need to go have some conversations. You need to go sit with that lady under the tree, go talk with your mom, fix some stuff there. And with her story, I never had the opportunity to have that conversation with my mom. So for me, that was me having that conversation with my mom so that I could get that closure to keep moving forward with like my own healing journey.
Yeah, and I think in both of your books, one of the bigger themes are those parent child dynamics. And like each character has a very unique, complicated relationship with their parents or lack thereof. Um, it seems that that's been extremely therapeutic for you. Um, for those who haven't read the books, like what are some of the parent child dynamics that they can expect?
With Vanessa and her mom, Vivian, it's really a misunderstanding, because Vivian knows a way of showing love, and that's how she shows it to her daughter, but it doesn't come out in the way that Vanessa interprets love. She interprets it as like, my mom won't get off my back, and she's really aggravating, and she's annoying, and I'm never perfect in her eyes. And so you have like a mother wound happening there. And then with Xavier, you kind of have like this abandonment wound, and how it plays out in Black males, where they have this notion of like, this is what I have to do to be considered like the man, and how that influences his relationship with Vanessa, and how he has to learn to overcome that. And then with Lily in the Valley, you have just a hot mess, a hot mess of just this like this these parents that really probably should not be together, but they're so wrapped up into each other. And because Kelly is a girl where she gets good grades, she has a good head on her shoulders, she excels. It's like she's good, like she's good, she's gonna be good. And so they don't really open themselves up to see how their interactions with each other are actually impacting her. And just, it's really heartbreaking watching what it ends up doing to her through the story. And that was a really hard part to write for myself, because I was like, if I'm gonna write it, I have
You
to
have to go
go
there.
10,000%. And yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, in touching on kind of like the parent dynamics and then other themes, like some of the bigger themes, themes of loss, themes of grief, how do you navigate writing about that, properly addressing those things, but still preserving the romance? How do you balance that?
um I find that you just have to be as authentic as possible. And I would say it's slightly easy for me because like I've lived through all of those things. And it also helps that my sister is a therapist.
Okay, okay.
So I run a lot of the like therapy moments with her just to make sure I'm portraying them as authentically as possible, and like ethically as possible. And then I use a lot of like my own experiences with like the forms of therapy that like Vanessa goes to, and then the version that Kelly does because I've had to do them all. And so I would say that was like the hardest part in Loved by You was finding the balance because I kept being told this is great, but there's not enough romance. And I was like, but there is if you just let the story be. And so with Lily in the Valley, I had a wonderful, wonderful editor. Her company is called Chloe Sots Editing. Her name is Ashley Mustafa. She's a wonderful editor. She really let me just like do what I needed to do without like putting chains on me as a
Mhm.
writer. And I really, really, really appreciated that. If y'all are looking for editors, go check her out.
Okay, so you said
Her name
Ashley
is
Mustafa.
Ashley Mustafa. Chloe Stotts Editing. She is on TikTok, Threads, Instagram, everywhere. Um, and she really allowed me the freedom to go as far as I needed to go and then bring Kelly and Khalil back together
Okay,
again.
okay. So Kelly and Khalil, I want to kind of transition into like talking about Lily in the Valley. So when we meet these two in Love by You, it's very much giving there's tension, something's going on there, but also it's like I think when learning Lily in the Valley was about Kelly and Khalil, I'm like, what do we need to know about these two? Because Khalil is like, he's best friends with Zay, but he's also like a playboy. He outside, he's in these streets. And then Kelly is like a workaholic. She's a little controlling. She's a little meddling. She runs a very serious program. Um, for those who haven't read Lily in the Valley yet, what do you think they're going to learn? How do you think their perspective is going to change about these characters?
I would say that even the strongest people or strongest presenting people have some of the deepest wounds that you would never see. Especially when thinking about the story arcs of both characters, a lot of their like deepest, darkest moments happen away from other people. And I think it's really important for you to check on your strong friends, folks. Check on your strong friends.
Yeah, no, for sure. And in book one, like you see, there is something going on between these two, and you can't quite crack it. Why do these two still make a good pair, in your opinion?
Because I think deep down they get each other and they understand each other. And it's like a an understanding where when I think about like my ideal person, right? It's somebody who just gets when I'm low, but they also understand where it's coming from, but they're not afraid to like check me a little
Oh no,
bit.
they check they check each
but
other
they
for
but they
sure.
hold each other accountable, but they understand that like freedom and independence is a thing for them and they don't necessarily like being told what to do. And so I played on that to feed into like the fears and the insecurities that they have, and that's how we get the drama because you can't have drama, you can't have a romance without drama, and then getting them to a place of like understanding and just being comfortable with that.
Yeah, no, they definitely these two they said some things. I'm like, oh, we're not recovering from this. So they definitely the holding each other accountable. I You see that in the book. So I've seen you say, and I've heard you say something to the effect of, um, Zay was cute, Zay was great, he's the man, whatever, whatever. But Khalil, you wrote the heck out of Khalil. What do you think makes him such a great love interest?
Um, the care and attention. And it's like the attention he pays to the things that are unspoken. Um, and the just like the way he showed, like he was just God, he was just so good.
No, and the
He
thing
was
is,
so
Zay,
good.
like not to shit on Zay. Zay is very, that's a man, but like I think, and based on some of the comments I'm seeing, like I did not think I was going to be endeared to Khalil in this way until reading Lily in the Valley.
I can honestly say it wasn't until I had the prologue fleshed out. When I wrote the prologue, I was like, oh, they're gonna love him. And I think it's because of like the information. This is why prologues are important. The information
Yes,
you
you
receive.
really tapped in. I know you tapped in. The way some of the things you are saying, you are so tapped in. But again, you're not
Yeah.
gonna you're gonna look from a distance.
You won't catch me. But just like the insight that like when I love that's my favorite prologue. And mind you, I only have like two. This one and Love Baby.
No,
But that's my
it is a good prologue.
favorite.
Yeah.
And I like every time I would write it and work on it, I was always playing the Sammy song. What is it? The real popular one. I like the
The
way.
way
Yeah.
that is it. You know what? That's a good song. That's a good analogy to for that prologue. I think that's a perfect song pairing. Yeah. That
Yeah.
is
But he's just man.
no he
And
no
I
he
decided to push myself on the spice too, because I was like, no, it was cute for Loved by You. I was like towing the waters because I still do have a day job, and some of those people have found my books and have like read
and
them.
what has that been like for you?
It's awkward. I was at a PD one time and someone kept looking at me and I was like, do I know her from somewhere? And so she just kept looking and we had to do this icebreaker thing, which I don't like doing because again, introverted. And she found me and she was like, I hope this isn't weird, but I just followed you on TikTok. Do you write books? And my whole thing, I swear that I was just like, yes, I do write books. She was like, I've heard people talking about your book. I just downloaded it. I'm so excited to read it. And I was like, if you like it, let me know. If not, just
Has she
pretend you
circled
liked
back?
it.
Has she circled back after
I
reading?
haven't seen her. I haven't
Okay.
seen her at a PB because I got a promotion. This was like at the end of last year, but I got a promotion, so we're like in different ones. Um, but yeah, and then like one of my, I guess like support person that I like learned from. She told me she read it and she was like in love with it and she couldn't wait for Lily. And I was like, okay.
God. Oh, and how do you feel like keeping your author educator? Do you think you can keep that separate? How separate do you think you can keep those things?
It's right now. It's about as separate as it can be. There are people at my on my campus who have read my books before and love them. There are people who say, "Why don't you tell people?" Like when I released Lily in the Valley, they were like, "Why didn't you say you released this book?" I was like, "Because I don't know if y'all actually care about that. We need to worry about these test scores right now. We have benchmarks coming up."
Okay, okay.
So yeah, I just keep. I have always said I have story ideas that I really want to write, but they will for sure go under a pen name. And
Okay.
as soon as I figure out how to market them under the pen name, like India Carter, we'll be ready to
Okay.
go.
I'm looking forward to that. So you said you had to push yourself on the spice for book two. Um, what do you think that challenge was for you?
People reading it and
Okay,
then
okay,
looking at me crazy.
okay.
That's the
Because
main one.
it's good, and I think a lot of Kelly and Khalil's dynamic is is predicated on that. So like, I think you would have had to push yourself because
Mhm.
that's a part of that relationship and that dynamic. Um, that was so funny. People down to the job know who you are. I know that's right. Um, so book three. Wait, before we get into book three, so I actually got into. I knew of your book when you released it in late 2024, and like I would see your videos pop up and all of that. But I'm very much kind of like a, oh, it's not on audiobook. I don't know if I'm gonna get to it. And then the audiobook came out in May, June of this year,
Mhm.
and I jumped on it immediately. I know Midnight Michael is one of the narrators. Who was the other one?
Alex Monroe,
Okay,
and
so like elite
they
narrator
did a
selection
because
out
I'm
of
not an audiobook person, and so I was like, okay, I need to have some good narrators, and I was very detailed with this is how I need y'all to sound in this book, but especially for Xavier. I was like, if you don't hit this the way I need it to be hit, people are gonna come for me because I really pride myself on making it as authentic as possible. I sent like clips of how I wanted these people to sound when they were narrating, and they did an amazing,
they
amazing
did. No,
job.
no, and like for your first audiobook, for you to nail it narrator wise, because like I think when I finally caught wind of the audio, I'm like, oh, now I can get into this. And then you see Midnight Michael, who's one of my favorites, and then you see Alex Monroe, who's also one of my favorites. I'm like, oh, like for the first audio, I'm like, this is superb. So it seems like you had a lot of input in narrators.
I had some. I was able to do like a top five wish list, and I just got lucky with my first picks.
Okay, that is amazing because it really makes or breaks it. But it was an enjoyable read. And after listening
Appreciate
to it, I'm like, when the next book come out, I'm like, I may not have to. I'm not gonna wait for the audio. So I sat on my Kindle and read it ebook style. Is there going to be an audiobook for book two?
Yes, it is currently in production. I submitted the like audiobook script and it was accepted, and so I'm just waiting to hear when like I'll get my samples, which is exciting for me. And then when the release date will come, if the timeline is similar to it, Loved by You, I'm assuming it may be like March, April, or something around that time.
Okay, okay. Same narrators.
Yes.
Okay,
I
awesome,
have not
awesome.
heard different yet. You
Okay.
cannot be on camera.
Uh, so, is a kid? Yeah. um. So let's get into book three. So if I had to make a prediction, this is going to be Maverick and Naya.
No.
No, am I wrong?
No.
Okay, so it's going to be Lynn and Wesley.
It's gonna be Lynn and Wesley.
Okay, Lynn and Wesley is book three. What can you tell us about book three?
Um, really leaning into the lover girl, delusional girl side of things, lucky girl syndrome side of things.
And Lynn is very much yes. Okay.
Yeah. And then you get like a snippet of it toward the end of Lily in the Valley, like when she visits Kelly. I kind of tried to put some Easter eggs in there. And then I also want to tap into just my own personal, like, spiritual journey through their stories. And then if people have read the choices we make, then there's like a huge secret that has to come back around for Wesley's book concerning him.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And do we have a title? Do you want to share the title? Are we done?
I can't because I did put it at the end of the final version of Lily in the Valley. The title is Lady in My Life. All of the book titles are like songs, of course. Oh, thank you.
Oh,
Showing me.
Thank you.
My little personal assistant. And so the title is Lady in My Life, the song Michael Jackson. And I'm gonna print a bookmark. Okay.
When is bedtime?
It's supposed to be now, but he hears me on live.
Oh, what is bedtime? What is bedtime?
He likes to be in the mix whenever I'm on live.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's Lady in My Life. If y'all want to go listen to the song, I think it's the perfect title. And then I will just say there's a lot of I'm tapping into my like Louisiana roots. And so both of my parents are from Louisiana. I spent so much time in like the Cajun country part of Louisiana, like Lafayette, Opelousas, around there. Like that's where I'm from, you know?
Okay.
And so I'm excited to tap into that culture and bringing that into the story. I've been telling people that Lady in My Life, I feel like we need a break from the tears for a second. And we need to just have a little bit of fun, like how Beyonce put out Renaissance. Because we needed fun. So Lady in My Life.
I like that.
Will be fun.
What can you tell us about book 4? Because the idea is there. What can you tell us about 4?
So book 4 will be like the conclusion to all of these different parts. And so what I hope people are seeing is like each book is a step in a healing journey. So it's like you're healing your mother wounds, you're healing your father wounds, and then we're getting into getting comfortable in your identity of who you are as a person. And then in book 4, it's me. I feel like that I've always told people that is going to be my most personal book of the entire series. And so it's like you'll see elements of each one of them play out in Naya's story. Someone was like, Naya is always like off in the cut, and we don't really know a lot about her. And I'm like, yes, that's done on purpose.
Okay.
And so you'll see her story play out, and her movie has been playing in my head. And I feel like that one will be, I really think it's going to be longer than the ones that are out right now.
Okay.
Who said her husband was cheating?
I mean, Naya's like, we don't care for Naya's husband, so we don't care for him. So so you made
a good guy.
Wait, is that a sarcasm?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. But you will see the title of her book once Lady in My Life is released. I always put the little teaser at the end with the title announcement.
So do you have a timeline for this? Like, are we going to get it next November?
So I actually am pushing myself to get Lady in My Life out around like March. I have a very specific date that just numerology, like I really wanted to come out on that date. And then in my dream of dreams, Naya's story would come out on my birthday in June.
So you try to put out 2 books within 2 months next year.
Yeah.
I mean, you wrote Loved by You in a week, so I feel like you can get in like a flow state or something, and like.
And for Lynn and Wesley's, like theirs is already started, and I think I'm about to do like double writing, like writing 2 books at one point.
Are the storylines going to be parallel?
No.
Okay.
They're not. But Naya's story is playing, and I have to get started on it because it's
Okay, I'm really looking forward to Maverick and Naya, and that's why I was hoping. But I'm patient. I'm a patient girl. So
I will say I'm a little upset that everybody has Maverick because Maverick has like an MMC name, but it's okay because I am a Menace stan.
Okay, congratulations.
So it's fine.
Congratulations. So you made a reference to the choices we make. For those who don't know about kind of like this I kind of call it like a prequel, but like this dives into the parents. Like what can you share for those who are not familiar with the choices we make?
So when writing Loved by You, I just felt like the parents were equally as important. And Vivian received so much hate, so much hate. And I was like, I'm going to redeem anybody, I'm going to redeem her. So I decided to give insight into how they became the parents that we see them as in the stories. And so that's where the choices we make were brought out. And the title is a nod to like, there are choices our parents make, and they don't know how that's going to impact us as children, but they make them. And so it's you seeing the choices that they're making. And then it kind of like, once you read those, you start gaining understanding and clarity for how it's shaped the kids later on. And
I
so
do
we have another
recommend
installment coming.
yeah, I do recommend that that you read. And then you started teasing a Christmas novella in this universe. What can you share about that?
So, Christmas is my favorite holiday, and I recently had a collab with Shop Out of Print, and she was like, "Hey, we have this thing. I don't know if you'd be interested." And I was like, "Well, I've been working on the next part in the choices we made, and I decided to set it around Christmas." So that I could participate in the thing that Shop Out of Print is doing. And I really like this idea of like, okay, we saw the parents before they had kids. And now we're speeding up to where the kids are now preteens. And so you're seeing how like life has happened with the moms. And I'm teasing a little bit more of like what's to come in Wesley and Lynn's story. And some people were like, I needed more of the choices we make. And I'm like, well, you're not going to get more. Because when I think about like my experiences, the further back I go, the shorter the like glimpses are. And so that's why I decided to keep it novella length. So you get a couple, like the first one was about 3 days. The next one will be about 2 weeks in length. And you can see like preteen, Vanessa, Kelly, Wesley, and just like the hijinks that the parents are up to
Okay.
at this
Okay.
point.
And when is the expected release for that? Like when is this collaboration coming out?
Um, Christmas. And then I actually just opened, well, announcing right now that ARC signups to receive an ARC for this are open, and you can just click the links in all of my different bios if you want to sign up to receive an ARC. Just know that you probably should have read the first version or some of the books in this series before you like read the second version.
Okay. Okay. Um, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok, Instagram, Threads, YouTube. I am going to be coming back to YouTube. I'm telling y'all right now, you won't see any pretty edits. You won't see, it's just going to be a very raw documentary style, diary entry style, video clips put together of like the state of my mind and what I'm working on and how I'm just living life. And then I'm also like, I'm on all the platforms, Alexandria Lechelle. But yeah, I have a Patreon also that I'm going to be getting back into over the holidays. And yeah.
Are you planning to like step outside, do a couple of events? Like what are your feelings around this
Yes, I
one?
have 3 events slated for next year. The first one is Plots and Pours with Z Renee. And I can't remember the top, but I want to say it's April. It's either March or April. I don't remember the exact date. And then I'll be at Black Romance Book Festival. Really excited about that in May. And then my book club, that's book club in Houston, Texas, Black Girls Read Too. We have our It's a Lit World Black Authors Expo. I'll be attending as an author. That'll be in Houston, June 13th. I think I have it right. Tickets are available now.
Okay, tickets are available now for It's a Lit World, right?
Mhm.
It's a Lit World, so like kind of like different worldy, like kind of like those
Mhm.
vibes. How are you feeling with like the in person of it all?
It's getting easier. It's definitely getting easier. I have gone to some events like as a reader, and me being me, I take it as like a learning experience. So while I'm enjoying as a reader, I'm also observing like how do the authors interact and like how do they present themselves, because when I like do it myself, I want to make sure I'm presenting myself the right way.
Mhm.
And so yeah, it gets easier. I really want to push myself to like be on a panel one day. I don't know like how far Black Romance Book Festival have gotten, but I think that would be so interesting for me to do. I really
Yeah,
want to push
reach
myself.
out to the team and be like, because
Mhm.
as someone who's slated to moderate, I don't think things are in the stone. So
Mhm.
I would see where you could fit in. So you said Plots and Pours in
Mhm.
Houston, Black Romance Book Fest in Atlanta, and It's a Lit World with Black girls read too.
Mhm.
So that's the three for 2026. Okay.
Mhm.
For those who are tuned in, if you have questions, ask them now because we're about to do a this or that. And you're going to tell me this or that. Are you ready? Houston or New Orleans?
Oh, I'm gonna say New Orleans. I'm gonna say
Okay.
New Orleans.
New
Yeah.
Orleans. Okay. Character driven or plot driven stories?
Character.
Okay.
Character.
Friends to lovers or love at first sight?
Love at first sight. And I've never written Love at First Sight,
Okay.
like truly,
Is that
well,
something
that I've put
you think
out.
about in the future?
I technically have a story that is Love at First Sight, but it's that's a pen name story.
Okay. Okay. This I cannot wait for someone to just appear and like we not know it's you. Like, I just can't wait for someone to just pop up. Um I feel like this is redundant, but Xavier or Khalil?
Khalil.
Khalil or what? Khalil or Wes?
Oh, okay. Y'all don't see it because y'all aren't writing the book, but I actually think it's gonna be Wesley.
Okay.
I
Wesley.
actually think it's gonna be Wesley.
Okay, so bracket style. Wesley or Maverick?
I think Maverick, because I think Maverick is gonna be my ultimate grand supreme MMC for the series.
Okay, okay. Who do you see yourself more in, Vanessa or Kelly?
Mm. If I have to pick out of those two, I'm gonna say Kelly. But if I think about all the friends, actually, it's Naya.
Okay, okay. Acts of service or words of affirmation?
Acts of service,
Acts of
lighten my
service.
load.
I think you've already answered this, but books or audiobooks?
Books.
Books. Fast paced or slow burn?
Fast paced.
Okay, 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 fast. Okay, okay. Um, and then last question: book talk or bookstagram?
I will say right now, Bookstagram. I don't know what happened with my engagement here on TikTok, but it's more engaging on Bookstagram right now.
Okay, I'm not offended. That's fine. You survived all the questions, at least all my questions. We're gonna scroll back up. Audience, if you have questions, ask them now. We're gonna get them answered. We're gonna let Alexandria go because she got to put someone to bed. She got to put this child to bed. She needs
But
to.
I will say, we're here talking. He's here reading.
Oh, what is this dog? Okay, you see. Okay, okay, okay. You see, you can't send him to bed
No.
if he's reading. You can't put him to bed. He's reading. He gets to stay up. Um, Pre-order up. Someone said, "Is there a pre-order up? Are there pre-orders for the Christmas book?"
Not yet.
Okay.
I mean, there's still some things on the cover that I want to tweak a little bit as far as like color grading. So I haven't officially added it to my website just
And
yet.
you designed the covers, right?
It's a one woman shop.
And you also sell bookish merch, and that's your design work as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're just creative all around.
I have candles that I just have to get labels printed, then I can put that on the website. I have like bookmark charms. Okay, read in your head.
Okay. And all of this is on your website, right?
Not yet.
Not yet.
I think I'm just gonna do like a hard reset in the new year.
Okay. So you're gonna revamp all the retail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next question. Are you going to Chocolate City Lit in DC? No.
I wish, but no.
No. Kim, the answer is no for Alexandria, but yes for me. But yeah, no for you. Who's your favorite FMC and MMC in general? Ness, clarify your question. Who's your favorite couple in the series? Will be your favorite couple in the series if they haven't been published yet.
Because of the hijinks and just knowing like the types of stories that I prefer to read, it's gonna be Wesley and Lynn.
Okay, Wesley and Lynn. Okay. Do you prefer standalones or series?
It depends on how I'm feeling and the time that I have. If I have time to devote to a series, I would rather a series, but I want to be able to go from one book to the next. Okay. Otherwise, I just need a standalone.
Okay. So you talked about this Southern Gothic story. Do you have anything else in the works?
So I have an idea for like a cowboy romance thriller. And then I have like the Southern Gothic. I have to research a lot for the Southern Gothic because I want to make sure like the magic system is authentic. But that's what I have so far. I've also been very interested in seeing if I could teach myself how to adapt my books into like screenplays. Yeah.
Okay. I think you could do it. Sharna wants to know, will we get a novella in the future for Nessa and Zay as they build their family?
I've been toying around with that idea. I think if I do that, it'll be something that I like post in my Patreon. It's like Patreon special things.
Okay. Yeah. And I do think you did a great job of like letting us know how Nessa and Zay are in this second book. Like we know what's going on. Like they're very much, this friend group is very much intact in each other's lives. So.
I had like a short snippet that I was supposed to like put out as a freebie before Lily in the Valley, but Life. And the first half of that snippet was you get to see like their relationship in between the end of Loved by You and the epilogue. Okay. So it was like a bit of time that happened in between there, and I thought it was just like really cute. I may have shared it on my Patreon with like people who were in the Patreon so they were able to read it, but the other part had a little bit more of an extended teaser for Kelly and Khalil, so I never released it, but maybe I'll just throw it out there so y'all can see.
Okay. Brianna wants to know, is the next book going to start with the aftermath of teaser? Or teaser. I don't know if that's a typo. I'm reading it wrong.
Not quite. So the way that I structure the teasers is so you get a feel of the dynamic between the two couples. And I sneak in like Easter eggs of like tropes that'll be at play. The teaser will be like mentioned in some of like the dialogue and events and plot points, but it won't pick up like at that teaser. It'll pick up like a couple months later.
Okay. And Kim wants to know, what's your IG name? She doesn't see the link to sign up for arts on the TikTok bio.
I'll double check that, but it's the same on all platforms. Alexandria Lechelle. I kept it very simple. Um, it's the same here. Instagram,
Okay.
YouTube,
Okay.
Threads, everything.
So Kim, check the IG bio for the link. And then last question. What's your favorite style of music to listen to while writing?
It depends on the scene. So with like Lady in My Life, I've been jumping from like Zydeco music
Okay.
to Kalani to a lot of like early 2000s summer like Amory
Okay.
type of feel. Like it's very Lover Girl inspired. So that's like kind of where I am right now. It has me very excited. Lots of like Pretty Ricky is on that playlist. What is his name? Pretty Willie, I think.
Pleasure
Stuff
P.
like
Okay.
yeah, it's stuff like that. So that's
Okay.
also, I guess, the teaser.
Okay, interesting. And someone commented the Nina Simone song had me crying during that part. Yeah. Yeah, the song selections were great for that, like for like the different parts. I thought that was great. Alexandria Lechelle, thank you so much.
Thank
For those
you.
who are tuned in late, Lily in the Valley came out in November. Get on it. Love by You, you should have read that before. That's available on audiobook. Lily in the Valley audiobook might come in the spring. Book 3 and 4, spring, summer.
I'm gonna
Christmas.
try not to make it fall, fall, winter joggers.
And then Christmas novella that will come out without a print later this month.
Mm-hmm.
And then to learn more about the parents and that backstory, the choices we make. And then pen name coming soon. You're not gonna know who it is. And yeah, what should I read first? What do you think they should read first?
Honestly, for the experience, read Loved by You first, and
Okay,
then
so
go
Love by
to the novella, then Lily in the Valley. I think the experience just it hits harder that way.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Alexandria. I'm gonna let you go. We're gonna stay on for a few more minutes. I'm gonna let you go, do bedtime. I'll see you in May in Atlanta.
Yes.
Houston girlies, plots and pours. I feel like that's already sold out. I wouldn't be. That's sold out.
So you can
It's
still catch me at a Lit
it's
World.
Lit World is not sold out yet. BRBF, you already know is sold out. So I'll see you in Atlanta. Thank you so much. For those who are viewing, our interview will be on YouTube tomorrow. And I'm gonna let you go. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.